Hello and welcome to day 189 of the New Testament readings. We're in Acts and we're back in the trial room. Paul's had this opportunity to share his story in front of Festus and King Agrippa and this room full of important people. And as he is sharing, Festus interrupts him and he basically says, you're out of your mind. This is insane. And Paul keeps his composure and he replies and he says, what I am saying is true and reasonable. And then he appeals to the king and he says, I am convinced that none of this has escaped his notice because it was not done in a corner. By it he means the life and ministry, death and resurrection of Jesus, the good news. And he has this kind of back and forth with King Agrippa, and King Agrippa says, oh, you're going to persuade me to become a Christian, and he uses that term in quite a derogatory way. But what's really happening is he's kind of sidestepping these deep soul searching questions that Paul is asking. Paul responds again, short time or long, I pray to God that not only you, but all who are listening to me today may become what I am, except for these chains. And that's kind of really spinning things on its head, because Paul is in this room full of important people, well-to-do people, and he's the one that's actually a prisoner, but he's kind of saying, you need to be more like me, not concerned about his reputation, and just that to have that kind of boldness and even that wit to respond in that way really is amazing. And another thing that's happening is he's appealing to the facts, to eyewitnesses of the accounts of the Gospels. And there's two responses here that are quite interesting and still relevant today when it comes to Christianity. Firstly, people who write it off, and that's like Festus at the beginning. Secondly, people who put it off, like Agrippa here. But either way, no matter how people respond, the challenge for today is to be more like Paul. And whoever's listening, to give our testimonies, to preach about the resurrection and the lordship of Jesus. And there's also a challenge there as well, not to put off the invitation of Jesus, of the gospel, for another day. Just like Festus, just like Felix, and just like Agrippa, as we've seen in these stories. Let's not put it off. Let's respond to Jesus. Let's go for it with everything we've got.